There is keen interest around the world in the flight of Apollo 11 to the moon beginning tomorrow. But residents of the Dallas area can feel a personal involvement because of some work done here at the Southwest Center for Advanced Studies. A component of the IMP satellites, launched before each of the Apollo flights, is made here at SCAS. Its purpose is to look for certain dangers to astronauts, as explained by Dr. Francis S. Johnson, acting president.
Well, the prime purpose of this is to make scientific observations in space of energetic particle radiation there. If an event occurs on the sun that ejects energetic particles that could be hazardous to the astronauts, this instrument will immediately report that, and this then can be taken into account in deciding on what should be done with regard to the mission. For example, if a solar flare occurred, a very severe solar flare occurred on the way to the moon, then surely, if the radiation dosage was high, they would simply pass around the moon and directly back to Earth rather than attempt a landing. So the instrumentation can be used in that way to change the course of the mission if an accident happens.
There is no real protection from radiation for the astronauts, but the device made here at SCAS will provide the earliest possible warning of any such danger. The astronauts will pick up dirt from the Sea of Tranquility and bring it back to Earth. Then SCAS has another important job, because some of that dirt will be brought here for experiments, some to be conducted on these very devices. Dr. Johnson explains.
Well, both the properties of the lunar material, whether it's dust or rock, will be examined, and also its magnetic properties are to be studied. Now, the magnetic properties are of main importance if the material is relatively solid. See, one doesn't really know with great confidence what sorts of materials one can pick up on the moon, whether one can get a good sample of solid rock or whether you will find nothing but relatively loose materials that are broken up and not consolidated at all.
Strict controls will be maintained. There'll be no chance for contamination of the area from whatever might be in that moon matter. Incidentally, Dr. Johnson personally doubts that the Russians' Luna 15 will land and bring back moon soil. He says their earlier work has not been towards that capability. However, he has no opinion as to just what Luna 15 might do. Bob?
Standing right here tends to put one in mind of the poet who read the rhyme of the sailors stranded on the still, still sea. Water, water everywhere, he said, but you can't drink any of it. Well, actually you could, but as the situation stands at the moment, Fort Worth is the only municipality in Tarrant County equipped to process surface water or lake water for home use. And water for home use is becoming a serious problem right now in Tarrant County. There are 28 communities in the county which have water responsibilities to their residents, and those 28 communities, most of them, must rely on non-surface water or well water to supply their needs. The recent weeks of high temperatures and no rainfall have put most of those communities in dire straits. Bill Harrison at Bedford reports 25 homes without water at times during the day. Benbrook reports low pressure late in the afternoon. They say if it doesn't rain this weekend, the situation will be critical. Colleyville and Haltom City, North Richland Hills and Watauga all report their wells running at full capacity. They say one breakdown and they are in serious trouble.
The larger a community grows in this area, it eventually reaches a point where well water or groundwater supplies become inadequate. And to supplement this, it will be necessary that surface water be made available. Fort Worth has been doing this to those communities around it, and the Cedar Creek supply, which will be brought into Tarrant County within the next 2 or 3 years, will supplement our supply here in Fort Worth and Tarrant County more than what we've got now. So it will be available. It will cost some money to distribute it countywide.
No doubt at one time or another you have laughingly observed that you'd gladly pay $100 for a cold drink of water. Well, the situation in Tarrant County at the moment is no laughing matter. But if it doesn't rain, and soon, a lot of Tarrant County residents better get ready to at least grin and bear it.
The reason why we're not, of course, is planning ahead and building the facilities before the need appears. It's sometimes rather difficult to justify building facilities, lakes, dams, pumping stations, filtration plants, against a day such as we're having right now. But when it's raining, it seems like that you don't need these things, and they do sit idle, but the fact remains that we know they can happen. So to the best of our ability, we predict what kind of a maximum day we can have, and we try to build those facilities to meet it.
From your predictions, do you foresee any possible trouble in the next, say, 5 years?
Not if we keep building.
I consider it significant in that the federal law, which makes illegal discrimination in the sale and rental of housing, has been put to a test and, in a sense, put to a test, and that the defendant, after review of the law and review of the circumstances, has agreed to the plaintiff's position. I think it terribly significant that the defendant was willing to conciliate at this early stage of the game.
What does this mean in terms of other apartment house owners in the city?
Well, I think it should tell other apartment house owners that the law is there, that the law can be applied, and that it's meaningful.
Do you feel that there is widespread de facto segregation in apartment housing and housing in general in Dallas?
Oh, no question about it. If I could put it into percentages, it would be in the high 90%. It's very, very difficult for a black person to get an apartment of his or her choice.